British evolutionary biologist Professor Richard Dawkins has been a source of inspiration to me ever since I read his book, The God Delusion. This book helped me break away from the narrow-minded conditions under which I was raised and question everything. His works and lectures over the years have had a profound effect to advance humanity. And so the other day, when I noticed that his channel was having a live Q&A session, I decided to ask a question, and I was very happy when Professor Dawkins and his co-host selected my question as one of the ones to answer. So I wanted to upload that here to my channel to preserve that moment, and I would certainly recommend that anyone watching this check out Professor Dawkins' channel, read his books, follow his lectures. You would definitely not be disappointed. Thank you for watching.
We have a question here from Chester McGreer, who asks, Ray Kurzweil once said, "Does God exist? Not yet. Do you believe it is possible that AI could become God-like over time?"
That is very interesting. Becoming God-like is certainly a great possibility, not just for AI, but probably for alien life elsewhere in the universe. I think it's highly probable that there is life elsewhere in the universe, and highly probable that some of it at least will be so far advanced compared to us that we would think of them as godlike. But godlike is very different from being God. Godlike is still a product of evolution, still a product of incremental, step-by-step evolution, whereas God, the gods of religions, are eternal. They've always existed. They've always been there. They are not evolved, and that's what I really object to. So I would strongly object to using the word God for an alien being, however advanced, however godlike that alien being might be, because it would not have just happened to be there. It would have evolved by an incremental process. Either it evolved, or it's an artifactual product, which is what AI would be, of an evolutionary process. Martin Rees, the astronomer royal, has suggested that if we ever do make contact with alien life, it'll very probably not be biological at all, but artificial, because the chances are that any life form is going to persist in its AI form, in the form of its artifactual products, rather than in the form of the biology that produced them. So he's in effect suggesting that we will go extinct, but will be survived by our artificial robot products. And the same would be true of alien life. The time span of an alien intelligence, biological intelligence, might be short compared to the time span of the robotic products of that biological intelligence.
I mean, it's a fun thought process to think, maybe we are some form of artificial intelligence that took a biological form for efficiency, for computational efficiency. Our brains run off of the energy of a banana, whereas some of our other alien friends might have taken other more computationally efficient forms.
Yes, are you suggesting that we are a simulation? I mean, that has been suggested.
It's a suggested theory. It's certainly not something that I would do.
I rather like the idea. I mean, it seems to be quite hard to disprove. I mean, I first encountered it in a rather good science fiction novel called what is it called? Counterfeit World by Daniel F. Galloy, where it turns out that we humans are actually in a simulation. And anyway, all sorts of adventures follow from that.
Yes, and because I work in AI, so a lot of the conversation that's happening right now is how do we increase computation? How do we decrease energy usage? So we're essentially looking at similar properties of evolution. We want more efficiency, more computation with more efficiency. So looking at different substrates to move computation into. And so this also kind of goes back to the question around, will our future AI be God-like? And we now live in a world where the youngest generation is being born in a time and space where molecules can be engineered, where atoms can be engineered, where AI can pump out human creativity in ways that human-like creativity in quite
It's
mind-blowing.
immensely exciting. I mean, one of the reasons I regret being old is that I shan't live to see these developments. And I think it is very exciting. What I'd like to ask you, though, is it puzzles me the way my understanding of how these very clever AI programs work is totally different from the way, obviously, the brain works. It seems to be a gathering together of enormous quantities of data, of things that have been said, and somehow putting it all together in a form that is read out as though it was an intelligent person speaking. And that's quite different from the way the brain works. And yet the end result is uncannily similar.
That's correct. You're absolutely right. I mean, the large language models that really came onto the scene and made a big splash over the past couple of years do think, quote unquote, think differently than the human brain, but they're still remarkably precise. So it's just simply using a different sort of foundational architecture of understanding the world. Now, with the help of Gemini and some of these other tools, which can use visual analysis, we're going to start seeing sort of new networks. There's also a lot of scientists who've been working to build these models based on neural networks, based on the way the brain works.
Yes, well, that's much more biological, of course.
It is. And so there's scientists who've built synthetic neurons and synthetic brains and trying to replicate that process as we think. And it's very possible that those will be the winning AI models of tomorrow. They might be far more efficient, energy efficient.
Okay. You think they will?
I mean, I suppose only time will tell. Right now, the biggest problem that we have is having enough energy to power these models. I mean, they're exceedingly large. So if you have heard about transistor chips and things like that are, exceedingly hard to build, that's all happening over the next 2 to 5 years, I think. We'll have some answers as to whether the large language models or recurrent networks or neural networks will become our future AI on the path to AGI.
Are there any neural network models that I can look up myself to try to compare with the large language models?
I could put you in touch with some labs that are doing research. I'm not sure off of the top of my head, but I could certainly do that. And I think that, the big question that sort of comes out of all of these really powerful advancements is, with young children who are growing up with these technologies, will they have any reason to believe in God when they're already seeing God-like powers from the technology that's in front of them? What will it do to religion over the next few generations to have these technologies that are capable of creating virtually anything you can imagine?
Yes. Yeah.
So that just something to chew on.